Good morning, my dear students. Today we will discuss about the fourth part of our chapter 4, the Delhi Sultanate. In this part of our video, we are going to discuss about Tughlaq dynasty and Sayyid and Lodi dynasty. And the last part of our video consists of a comparative study between two dynasties, that is Khiljis and the Tughlaqs. So this is the main theme which we are going to discuss in this video. Now let's see the rulers who are coming under, or the dynasty which is coming under Tughlaq. So three important rulers are there. The founder of the dynasty, Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq, who ruled from 1320 AD to 1325 AD. The second ruler is considered as the most important Tughlaq ruler, Muhammad bin Tughlaq. He ruled from 1325 AD to 1351 AD. The third ruler was Firoz Shah Tughlaq. His reign was from 1351 AD to 1388 AD. So these are the three important Tughlaq rulers. Now we will study about each one in detail, about their achievements and all the details about these rulers. So let's start with the first one, that is Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq. Let's continue our class with Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq. He was an able and experienced ruler, and he faced many difficulties boldly. He ruled for about 5 years, and he introduced many reforms for the welfare of his people. He fixed 1/10 of the produce as revenue, and he treated his soldiers well and filled them with enthusiasm and patriotism. He suppressed the revolt in distant provinces and built the fort city of Tughlaqabad in Delhi. The tomb of Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq is situated in this fort. You can see the image of his tomb. Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq died in an accident in 1325, and after him, his son Muhammad bin Tughlaq became the ruler. Muhammad bin Tughlaq. In 1325, after the death of his father, Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq, Muhammad bin Tughlaq became the ruler. His original name is Ulugh Jana Khan. He was a great scholar and had a keen interest in religion and philosophy. He mastered mathematics, astronomy, logic, and physical science. He was a lover of Persian literature, music, fine arts, and calligraphy. Calligraphy means the art of beautiful writing. During his time, a Moroccan traveler came to Delhi in the year 1333, and he made a detailed description of Muhammad bin Tughlaq, and his records are considered as the main source of information about Muhammad bin Tughlaq and the Tughlaq dynasty. Ibn Battuta was appointed as the chief Qazi of Delhi and was also sent as an ambassador to China by Muhammad bin Tughlaq. Now about Muhammad bin Tughlaq. He became the ruler after the death of his father, and he ruled for about 26 years. He took many bold steps. Most famous projects are well conceived but failed, probably due to faulty implementation. The historians call him a mixture of opposites, wisest fool, an idealist, a visionary, etc. Most of the decisions taken by him are well taken, or we can say that it's introduced in a good way, but due to the false implementation and due to the false, or the time was not in favor of him, due to that it failed. They are transfer of capital, token currency, taxation in Dome region, and the plan of conquest. So we'll study in detail about each one now. Let's continue with the projects undertaken by him. The first one is transfer of change his capital from Delhi to Daulatabad. And that place was Devagiri, and he renamed it as Daulatabad. And he, along with his officers and the other workers, were transferred to Devagiri. For that he made roads, rest houses, etc. And they travelled and reached Devagiri. While travelling itself, so many people died. And after reaching there, people were homesick and they were not able to adjust with the new situation and the new place. So the problem was that he thought that he can control the empire properly if he changed his capital from Delhi to Daulatabad. But it was in vain. He was not able to control the place. Along with that, the money he spent for making the roads and for making the buildings there was also a waste, for all the amount was looted, or like that it is reduced from the treasury. So we can say that the first decision of transfer of capital was in vain because the people were not able to adjust there, and the second one is what he thought about. What was the main aim of the decision was that he thought that he can control the empire properly. The second one was that he can protect his empire from the Mongol invasion. Both, he cannot achieve both of them. So we can say that the first one is a failure. Only two important good things happened is there was a contact between the people of north and south, and the next one was so many Muslim ulamas or the preachers, religious preachers who came along with him to the south. They were able to spread the teachings of Islam, or the Turkish knowledge was spread in South India because of this incident. Only these two positive things are there, or the remaining are all negatives. So the first one was a failure. Now moving to the second one is token currency. During that time, deficiency of silver was there. Silver coin, people were using silver coins, and the scarcity of silver was there. So he took a decision. He started minting coins with bronze, which is having the same amount or the same value of silver coins. Bronze was cheap and easily available, so the people started minting their own coins. If they want to go to shop, they start minting their coin and going to shop and buying the products. So in such a case, what happened? The country cannot make a balance between the coin and the use of their country. So many people started minting their own coin, and there was no any decision was not taken by the king for its proper implementation. He just asked the people to use bronze coin instead of silver coin, but people started minting their own coin. They were not using the coin which is minted by the government. So the second one was also a failure because of its false implementation. The government cannot regulate it properly. The third one is taxation in the Doab region. This Doab region is Ganga Yamuna delta region, which is considered as the most fertile part of India, and the yield of that place is also very high. So during that time, he started collecting more tax from the Doab region. And due to maybe his fate, at that time famine and drought came in the Doab region, and the farmers were not able to make or produce more. But after giving the order, the people who were implementing that because of the lack of their common sense, they started taking money what is prescribed by the government. But during that time, due to famine and the bad condition of weather, it was a failure. But when the king realized that it was a failure, at that time it was too late. Many people died, many flew away from the country, and they took refuge in jungles, etc. So this one also failed. It was not the thing what he implemented. It was a positive thing. He implemented this taxation in Doab region mainly for getting enough resources or enough plenty of money so that he can manage his army. But it failed because during that time the climatic condition and his fate was against him. Last one is the plan of conquest. He decided to conquer the whole world. For that, as a first step, he started making a huge standing army, and for making his soldiers happy and enthusiastic, he paid them 1 year salary in advance. And after that, he sent some of his soldiers to Iraq and Persia. He tried to defeat them, but that was also it also became his dream only. Later, he sent some of his soldiers to Himalayas, in those areas. About 10,000 men only 10 came back. Like that, so whatever decisions he have taken, whatever dreams he cultivated was ended in a way. So these are the 4 important projects undertaken by him, and all these 4 ended in, or in a way we can say that in a destruction. It was not a positive one, everything ended in a way. You can see once again, transfer of capital, token currency, taxation in home region, and plan of conquest. Now the last one is he died in 1351, and that is the end of his adventurous life. Now we will move to the next part, that is about Firoz Shah Tughlaq.
Firoz Shah Tughlaq. Firoz Shah Tughlaq was the cousin of Muhammad bin Tughlaq. He ascended the throne after Muhammad bin Tughlaq. His father was Rajab, and he was the younger son of Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq. When he ascended the throne, the condition was very bad. There were rebellion in different parts of the empire, and he tried to crush the rebellion but ended in failure. His reign was famous in history for a number of steps taken by him, and the main steps taken by him are as follows. He reduced the land tax and abolished some other taxes. He started new irrigation schemes and built new canals and repaired the old canals. He built hospitals, dispensaries, guest houses, and mosques. He set up a department of charity, Diwani Khairiyat, and gave financial help to the poor. He established an employment bureau to provide jobs to the unemployed. He set up a separate department to look after the slaves. He banned inhuman punishment like cutting off hand, feet, nose, etc. So these are the main welfare measures taken by Firoz Shah Tughlaq that made him famous. After Firoz Shah's death, a civil war broke out among his successors, and the Tughlaq Empire began to decline. The final blow to the decline of this empire was given by Timur, the Mongol ruler of Samarkand, who invaded India during 1398. Now moving to the next part, it is just a comparative study between Khiljis and Tughlaq. It's given in your textbook. You can read that. You can see the important points there. And now we'll move to the last 2 rulers who ruled Delhi after the first important 3 dynasties: Slave dynasty, Khilji dynasty, and the Tughlaqs. They are Sayyid and Lodi dynasty. The Sayyid dynasty ruled from 1414 to 1451. After the departure of Timur, his representative Khisar Khan, he ascended the throne. He established the Sayyid dynasty, and the remaining rulers like Mubarak II, Muhammad Shah, Alauddin Shah, etc. are inefficient rulers. Their achievements were not outstanding, so it is not detailed in our syllabus. And now during Muhammad bin Tughlaq's reign, a large number of Afghans settled in Delhi, and soon they replaced the Sayyid dynasty in the 37th year of his rule. Now coming to the last portion, that is the Lodi dynasty. The Lodis ruled for about 75 years. Their reign starts from 1451 to 1526. And 3 important rulers are there: Bahlul Lodi, Sikandar Lodi, and Ibrahim Lodi. In 1526, Babur, a descendant of Timur, he invaded India and defeated Ibrahim Lodi, and the battle is very important, the first battle of Panipat. And in that battle, Ibrahim Lodi was killed, and this was the end of Lodi dynasty and the beginning of Mughal period. The first Mughal ruler is Babur, and that is the end of this 5 dynasties which ruled Delhi, which we call it as the Sultanate.
Let's see the comparative study of the Khiljis and the Tughlaqs. Alauddin Khilji was the first Delhi Sultan to build an empire in India. His successful military expeditions expanded the boundaries of the Sultanate and extended his influence to the south of the Vindhyas. Now let's see about the policy of Muhammad bin Tughlaq and Firoz Shah Tughlaq. The foreign policy of Muhammad bin Tughlaq was highly ambitious with realistic goals such as world empire, but it ended in failure. It ended in a dismal failure. On the other hand, Firoz Shah's policies were weak and inefficient. The failure of their military expeditions led to the disintegration of the huge empire established by Alauddin Khilji. Alauddin was the first Sultan of Delhi to create a permanent standing army. He introduced a number of radical military reforms to make the army disciplined, efficient, and strong. He himself recruited the new soldiers. Alauddin faced the series of rebellion from his nobles, and he took harsh rules and regulations to cut the growing power of rich and ambitious nobles. But Firoz Shah Tughlaq, he adopted many policies to regain the support of hostile nobles and adopted the policy of conciliation towards them. He increased the salaries and allowances, reintroduced the Iqta system and made it hereditary. So, on the one hand, Alauddin Khilji crushed the power of nobles, and Firoz Shah Tughlaq just made agreements with them, given them allowances, and made them happy, and he won their support. Alauddin was ruthless in enforcing his schemes. It is said that he was a very cruel ruler and he used to give very harsh punishments. On the other hand, Firoz Shah was very kind and merciful. It is said that even he never punished anyone for smaller minor theft or any such type of things. It's about his character. He was a very kind and merciful person. Alauddin built a strong defense system to protect his empire from the Mongols and successfully repulsed 5 Mongol raids during the early reign of his time, or during his early reign. He crushed them, or he faced whatever problems was faced by him. He just fought against the Mongols. But Muhammad bin Tughlaq, on the other hand, he shifted his capital from Delhi to faraway Daulatabad to minimize the danger of repeated attack of Mongols. Alauddin was the first Sultan to separate religion from politics. Firoz Shah ruled the Sultanate according to Sharia, or the code of religion of Muslim law. It was usually made for making the ulamas and the religious people happy. So Alauddin separated the religion from politics, but Firoz Shah combined religion with politics or with administration. Alauddin did not know how to read and write, but he proved to be a brilliant military general and a shrewd, far-sighted, efficient ruler. On the other hand, Muhammad bin Tughlaq was one of the most learned and accomplished scholar of his time, but a total failure as a general and as an administrator. Whatever steps taken by him ended in failure. And now let's see the similarities between Khiljis and Tughlaq. So we discussed about their difference, or their what are the things which was adopted by them, what are their differences. Now let's see some of their similarities. These rulers were despotic and their authority was absolute. A command of the Sultan became a law of the land. They introduced numerous welfare schemes to improve the economic condition of their empire. They were patron of art, architecture, and learning. The ambitious dream of establishing a world in there was nurtured by both Alauddin Khilji and Muhammad bin Tughlaq. Most of the rulers who belonged to this dynasty, their aim was to make a world empire. So that is all about our chapter 4. Now we'll study about their administration, about their art and architecture in the next chapter. Thank you.